What is up, y'all? Riven Speedruns here, and welcome to the Ultimate Jeff Guide. The goal for this video is to have the most complete and informative Jeff Guide that you will ever want or need. Some credentials real quick. I am 272 LP into eternity, one tricking mostly Jeff, as you can see here, and I peaked top 500, so hopefully this is good enough for you, and let's go ahead and get into it. To start, this entire video will be having my gameplay in the background so that you know I'm not a fraud. The face cam, not actually me. This is ripped directly from stream. I just deleted the audio, so don't worry about it too much. And one announcement before I get fully into it, I want to let y'all know that we are now offering coaching. So if you would like to see your rank go up a little bit, learn from a top 500 Jeff player, I will leave the link in the description. All right, on to our first topic. We are going to talk about how he is most effectively played. So hopefully, as you're picking up on the background, you will never see me sitting and heal botting. 95% of the time, you'll see me in the enemy backline doing DPS, looking at the supports. This is because Jeff's raw healing output is comparatively lower than a lot of other supports. So if you are just looking to heal, you should be looking for other characters to play. What Jeff does excel at is he has really great mobility and he's got great self-sustain, meaning that you can go in the back and take a lot of damage and put yourself in rough positions and get yourself out. This makes him perfect to pair with dive characters such as Spider-Man and Venom. This brings us to our next topic, which is his role in teams. Whenever you see a Jeff locked in on your team, I want you to take the strategist icon away from his name and replace it with a duelist. He is absolutely meant to DPS. This makes him most effectively played in 3 supports, preferably with a Luna. You can't always get it, but when I do have 3 supports, I typically ask for a Luna and an Adam Warlock or a Mantis, as the damage complements really well. Now that we've talked a lot about his playstyle, let's talk about his strengths and weaknesses. I believe that recognizing what your character excels at and recognizing what their downfall is a major part to being a complete player. Jeff has a lot of strengths. He does a lot of damage, he has very high mobility, and he has great self-sustain. This makes him an incredible carry character. Some people like DPS. It doesn't matter how much DPS you do if you never get healed, or it doesn't matter how much healing you do if your team never actually DPSs. Jeff does both. Meaning that if I am really trying to solo carry my moron teammates that really like going 3 and 7, I'm gonna pick Jeff. This, however, means that he has to have holes in his kit. And the general weaknesses is everything on Jeff is kept weak. He doesn't do a surplus of damage like Adam Warlock or Mantis does, and he doesn't do a surplus of healing like Luna or Invis Woman does. He is very mediocre at both. So I want y'all to recognize that you are going to have to find opportunities. He plays very much like Magic, and you sit around corners and you lurk until you find someone that's finally overextended. That's when you go in and you say, boom, I'm going to punish you because you're going to be without healing for 3 seconds here, and that's enough time to get my mediocre damage off. Finally, before we get into any of the nitty-gritty Jeff tech, let's talk about our last topic, which is things that add value not shown on the scoreboard. There are a lot of things that you can do on Jeff that, while not directly displayed, help a ton in winning. The major things I think of are move speeding your teammates. Your bubbles always give move speed, so even if it's out of the spawn doors, or if your tank needs to get out of a bad situation but they're slow, you can toss a bubble on them, and the move speed will get them out of more situations than you could ever expect. And the other major thing is making people chase you around. There is a value in holding the attention of an Adam Warlock and a Spider-Man. Meanwhile, you're only down 1 teammate, right? So you are currently doing nothing because you're not shooting, you're not getting kills, you're not healing. But so are they. They have 2 players doing nothing, and you're just 1. And this brings a ton of value, even though you can't directly see it. All right, now that all that's wrapped up, it brings y'all to the point in the video that you've all been waiting for, which is the Jeff tech. We're going to go ahead and start with some animation cancels. There's a few useful ones on him. The main one you will see me using is if you jump before your dive, it puts you in the ground faster than if you are just on the ground. This is very useful because you will see me doing a lot bubble, dive, like just trying to get in some shots while diving. And making that process faster where you've got less of a hitbox is huge. Another major one that you will see me using is if you need to reload. Pressing any button will go ahead and cancel it and still complete the full reload. So what you're going to be looking for, I'm going to empty my mag a little bit. You're going to want your reload bar to be at about 3/4, and you can press any ability and it will still full reload. I did it early, I'll show it again. 3/4, and I'm back to full ammo. This is more useful than you would think. You think, oh, it's just a second, but when you're in the middle of a fight and you just ran out and you're still stuck in the center of 3 people, Trying to get more ammo in, you want that animation cancel. All right, other than those two, there are actually very few Jeff animation cancels that you will ever have to worry about. There are a few fun ones, which I'll showcase right now. If you do it correctly, you can do a barrel roll. So when I said you could cancel with reload, you can reload and press your dive at the same time. As long as you just do it enough, it'll make Jeff barrel roll. It's quite funny. But there aren't any other useful ones. So let's go ahead and get into our next mechanic, which is self-healing. I am sure you saw me do it throughout the entire first section when you were watching my gameplay. And this is the most important mechanic you will have to master on Jeff. When you are low health, your bubbles heal for 85. And you can use them on yourself. Throwing them directly at the ground counts. However, there's more nuance to it. Some characters push, right? Invisible Woman and Mag both have a push, and they are both very big threats to your safety. When being pushed backwards, I'll show representation. Looking down doesn't always grab the bubbles. So if you are ever being stuck, being pushed backwards, I want you to turn around and throw the bubbles behind you. And that will allow you to go ahead and grab them and continue healing even through the push. Sometimes on stairs, I am sure all of y'all are well aware. Oh, why is it not doing it on that one? Okay, well now I look like a ditz, but I promise there's stairs in the game where the bubbles actually bounce back off of it. So if you are on a staircase, it is typically generally a good idea to look forward instead of down, because if you look down, I don't know why they bounce all the way back there. These staircases don't do it though. On to our next Jeff tech. Your bubbles have a boop effect. This allows you to knock characters off a ledge, like this Luna Snow. This alone isn't very effective because you'll never really find this situation more than once. Where it is effective is against characters like this Wolverine, where when they're attacking you, you can use your bubble to knock them back, and now he's out of range. And pretty much no matter how much he tries to hit you, he's never going to get to you. This next tech is nuanced and actually requires some tech within the tech. So if you see a strange portaling just like this, you can use your bubble boop to cancel it, but it's not that simple. One bubble boop doesn't actually cancel it. What does cancel it is pushing him into spawn. Strangers are not allowed to portal in spawn due to the fact that it would be too safe and you wouldn't be able to cancel it. So you can use your bubble boop and throw him into spawn, and now his portal is canceled. All right, the next major tech that we are going to be working with is with bubble healing. Your bubbles give 15% increased healing, and this is incredibly valuable when you see a low health tank. Healing a tank normally on Jeff is absolutely miserable. However, what you can do is you can get good at landing bubbles on your own teammates and healing, and it makes their health bar go up significantly faster than if you were to just flatline heal them. This next tech I'm going to clarify beforehand is incredibly nuanced, and this is not something that should be done every time. It's incredibly circumstantial, and if you don't want to, you really do not have to mess with it. When you are in a position like this, where you're just infinitely suspended in air, what you can do, you can press your ult and it plays the audio cue, right? Everyone hears Jeff audio cue, they know it lasts for 6 seconds. They're like, oh lord, the Jeff is coming, and the ult never goes down. They assume you miss it, right? You can sit here with your ult for as long as this bar doesn't force you to return to the spawn room. It's about to, so I'm gonna go ahead and hop off. And now my ult's here, and it doesn't play the audio cue when I go under. This is great for catching people off guard when ulting, because the audio cue wasn't there. They don't know what to do. All right, this next tech, it's not entirely tech. Instead, it's more of an explanation of a concept that you can abuse really well on Jeff. So in hero shooters, there's something called stagger. What stagger is everyone when they die has a 12-second respawn timer. And you can abuse this by making sure that it takes longer for some people than others. What I mean by this is if 4 people die at the very beginning of a fight and 2 people are still up, you can stagger them by making sure that they die about 12 seconds or 10 seconds after, making them have different respawn timers, and then they all come back at different times. So what we do, I eat, I'm already at the ledge, right? I could throw our Mantis right now, but I'm going to go ahead and hold on to her for the full 6 seconds. This allows the point to tick up, and it allows her team to respawn, and now she is 12 seconds behind everyone else. Okay, this next concept is probably the most useful one, and the one that you will have to master the most for being an effective Jeff. You cannot be frozen while underwater, and my brother's gonna show that real quick. This means that you can actually abuse it because the animation as you dive counts as being underwater. 3, 2, 1. Can dodge the CC. She also has a sleep, which can be dodged like this. 3, 2, 1. For this next segment, I'm going to show you matchups against characters and how to hard counter them. And we're going to start with Storm. Storm's ult is really oppressive. However, Jeff is capable of living it if he uses all 6 bubbles.
Feel the wrath of the goddess!
Just like that. This next tech I already showed earlier when explaining bubble booping. However, it applies to more than just you. For example, if your tank gets kidnapped over here, you can throw a bubble on him and it keeps the Wolverine away, saving your Groot, which is incredibly useful considering that Wolverine is the hardest counter to tanks. If you are really good, you can even knock them directly out of the air, canceling the grab altogether. The next character matchup we're talking about is with Strange ult, where you can actually keep your teammate alive through an entire Strange ult, as long as you effectively bubble. The next ult counter we're talking about is against Groot ult, where you can just continually throw bubbles at the ground and make your entire team live, no matter what happens. The next character counter that we're looking at is Mantis with her ult. Jeff is actually capable of eating Mantis ult. You just have to make sure that you are always centered on her when you press the ult. Otherwise, her move speed will allow her to get away. Next up, we have Invisible Woman. Your ult is actually the same size as Invisible Woman's ult, allowing you to basically force anyone out of it and typically eat the Invisible Woman too. And of course, you can go to the ledge right after. This just always nets you big eats. This next segment is going to exclusively cover ulting. Your ult is your most powerful tool. However, getting it off in any rank higher than plat is incredibly hard because you typically end up dying or ending up not close enough to a ledge in most instances. So learning how to use it effectively will be your #1 asset for climbing. The first habit that I cannot encourage you enough to get out of is spitting out your allies immediately. For one, it locks you into an animation where you are literally stationary, and it makes it so you will die so much the moment that people get a little competent in the higher ranks. The other reason is your ult, even though it's an aggressive ult, still heals your allies. There is value to giving 2 seconds of healing to a 10% health mag and putting it back to full before you go. How I would recommend is if you get allies and enemies, climb around a corner where you are in cover before you spit out your allies. Go ahead and spit your allies back toward the battle and then proceed to the ledge. It will net you so many more kills and prevent you from losing out on big ults. The next ult topic we're going to cover is when you should ult and when you shouldn't. This will save you so much time with your ults and give you so much more value. To start, when not to. I want you to stop looking for 6-man ults. I know that's shocking, and I know that the greatest feeling in the world is finding 6-man ults. However, 95% of the time, the Iron Fist is going to block, the Cloak and Dagger is going to cloak, the Captain America is going to dash out of it. There is, I did it once, 4 characters in the game that don't have counters to Jeff ult, and every other character has some really effective way of escaping it. Instead, what I want you to do, look for either 2 tanks, you're going to look for Stranges and Mags, make sure the Mag bubble is out, or look for backline. Look for the Adam Warlocks, look for the Mantises, look for the Lunas. And if you pick up even just 2 of them or even 1 of them, those picks are still so substantial and will win you the fight, and they make it a lot safer because you don't throw yourself into the middle of a large quantity of enemies while trying to grab them. Let's talk about things to watch out for when you ult, because there are a lot of them. The most common things that you're gonna run into are mag bubbles, mag ult. A lot of times when Magnetos see your ult, if they're gonna get picked up in it, they will press their ult button and just throw it at you and kill you and everything they've picked up. Magneto is a very effective tank to pick up, but you have to watch out for it. Same thing with Hulk bubble. Hulk will jump on his team, bubble everyone, absolutely ruin your day. It's not fun at all. This one is a little more shaky because it still gets you a lot of value. Lunas will sometimes ult to dodge your ultimate themselves, which gets a Luna ult out, so arguably it's useful. However, it's still something to think about. Cloak and Dagger. She was the menace of my life for a while and my permaban, because every time I'd go to ult, she would cloak, and she would cloak everyone in the area, and you will get no pickups, and it's just absolute heartbreak. There are a few other really major abilities you have to look out for, mainly mobility ones. Any character that you know has a dash, I would make sure that they don't have their dash up while they are while you're trying to ult them. But the overarching theme that I really want you to take from this is every time you miss an ult, I want you to think about what ability they use to make you miss that ult, and I want you to watch out for it the next time that you try to ult them. This brings us to our last topic of the video, which is when to jump off the ledge and when not to. Every time I post a video of me getting a big ult and me spitting people out, I get the same comment: spitters are quitters, you can't do that. And I hate to say it, however, if you would like to climb, you are gonna have to learn to preserve your life. So here's what I want you to analyze. I want you to think what character has mobility to get them back up on the map and what character doesn't. It's honestly split pretty half and half with all the roster, so people won't be able to make it back up about half the time. Check what characters you've eaten, and if there are 2 or more that can guaranteed make it back up, then go ahead and jump off with it. If there is only 1 that can possibly make it back up, and you've got another kill in the ult that you know will die, go ahead and just spit them. Don't worry about dying. Your life is more valuable than anyone else's. I really hope y'all enjoyed the Jeff guide. It, even though it's only 16 minutes, took a lot of work to get done. So if you enjoyed it, leave a like. If you'd like to watch me live, I have streamed both on YouTube and Twitch every day. I'll put the links in the description. And finally, once again, I do have coaching, which I'll have the link to in the description to my website. It's a really good deal. I coach you in person in Discord call while you actively play the game, and I give you some tips that should hopefully get you up about 600 elo, which is a massive amount. So I appreciate y'all watching, and I will see you next time. Peace.